We start this broadcast with the big global breaking news at the moment, and it's a massive update in the world's fight against the coronavirus pandemic and a huge boost to drug makers Pfizer and BioNTech. United Kingdom has become the first country in the world to approve the Pfizer-BioNTech coronavirus vaccine for widespread use. British regulator, Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, has approved Pfizer-BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine for widespread use, and the vaccine will be made available across the UK from as early as next week itself. The UK government said that they have accepted the recommendation from the independent Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency to approve Pfizer-BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine for use. It also said the jab offering up to 95% protection against COVID is safe for rollout for the masses. Pfizer CEO has also called it a historic moment in COVID-19 battle. It can be called the fastest transition for a vaccine amid a pandemic, taking only 10 months to follow the same developmental steps that normally spans over a decade. In fact, quick reminder to our viewers, the fastest that a vaccine was developed before this was in 1960s. It was a vaccine against mumps, and that took 4 years to develop. So the vaccine against COVID developed by Pfizer and other companies like Moderna and even Russia have taken only months, 10 to 11 months, and this is a testament to the advances in science and medicine. And a big boost in fight against the pandemic. United Kingdom has become the first country to approve Pfizer's vaccine against COVID, which will be available from as early as next week. Joining us on this big breaking news is WION's London Bureau Chief, Mandy Clark. Mandy, what's really impressive is that MHRA moved with tremendous speed, isn't it? They will receive the final data from the company only on the 23rd of November, and it's within days that they have approved the vaccine, and it will be made available in the UK shortly.
Yeah, it's absolutely certainly the first for the Western world for this to be approved, and it's really the speed that's remarkable. It's historic how quickly they have managed to turn it around so quickly. The Prime Minister, right now the UK is under lockdown, and he's begging people just to hold the line, hold those restriction measures as they roll it out. But there is certainly urgency felt within the UK government that this vaccine needs to get out and get out quickly, so the country, just like the rest of the world, can start getting back on its feet and recovering from COVID. So they've certainly put a lot of faith. They've taken this independent recommendation, moved very, very swiftly on it, and hope to roll it out as early as next week. Of course, it's going to be the most vulnerable who will get it first, then those key workers. So the massive majority of the population won't get it next week, but it is the starting of seeing that beginning of that mass rollout, hopefully to inoculate the country in the next few months.
Absolutely, and Pfizer vaccine needs to be stored at -70 degrees Celsius, so logistical problems remain. Most of the vaccine courses require 2 doses, which are separated over weeks, so it's not as if someone who receives the first dose is vaccinated. They will need to complete the dosage. Now, people in the UK were hoping that the vaccine process can begin before Christmas, and it will begin as early as next week now. Now, what we are learning is that UK has ordered 40 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine, which is enough for about 20 million people, since they all require 2 doses. So UK will require more doses of a vaccine, isn't it? Whether it is Pfizer or that of Moderna or some other company.
Exactly. They will definitely need a lot more. These are really those frontline workers. It's really just the starting. And it's an important point that you pointed out, that the first jab doesn't make you immune. It is, of course, those 2 doses that make the potency of this vaccine. So it won't be that you get a jab and suddenly you're corona free. That's an important point to stress. They will need more. They're hoping also to get the approval of those Oxford vaccine. Of course, that their data has come back later. They're still analyzing it. So the more vaccines that can be used on the mass population, the better. But right now, it's Pfizer that has passed all the tests, and they want to move on it very, very quickly. So that's how they're going. But they're still considering the Oxford vaccine. That's looking fairly positive. So we might also hear that they also approve that perhaps later on. But right now, the focus is the good news, the vaccine that will start the mass rollout.
Absolutely. You mentioned the Oxford vaccine. That's shown efficacy of about 60 to 90%. Pfizer claims its vaccine against COVID is 95% effective. So really, it's a great weapon in the battle against COVID-19 pandemic. But like we were mentioning, Mandy, 40 million is just a fraction of what the UK will require. And do you expect it to spark a global race for a vaccine? Because UK has given the approval, so Pfizer will be delivering 40 million doses to UK, but other countries now will follow suit. Europe wants 20 million doses of the vaccine. America has ordered for 100 million doses of the vaccine. Do you expect this to spark a global race for a vaccine and a race to approve emergency use of vaccines across the world?
I think we will see a quick move on Pfizer, but as you pointed out earlier, that you hinted to, and it's really important to remember, that it has to be stored at minus 70 degrees. That's incredibly difficult to transport this vaccine. So they want it quick. They want it to get to those key workers. But there is a lot of hope for the mass population getting it around the country, that perhaps the Oxford vaccine that is easier to transport will also prove a winner too. So it might not just be Pfizer. I think we will see a rolling out effect. Now that Britain has approved it, we might see it across Europe, across America, more demand for Pfizer, but also it is a tricky vaccine to store and move around. So really there's a lot of hope pinned also on that Oxford vaccine that just seems a bit more robust, that can be transported much more easily, that just has to pass those final independent checks to make sure that it's good for a mass rollout.
Absolutely. Mandy Clark, thank you so much for joining us. Like we were mentioning, Pfizer vaccine requires minus 70 degrees Celsius of storage, so logistical problems remain. Oxford, which also conducted large-scale trials, they say their vaccine can be stored at regular fridge temperature. Moderna needs to be stored at minus 20 degrees. So when countries are dealing with these vaccine candidates, they have a lot of things to take care of, isn't it? Meanwhile, other countries are also moving forward as far as their vaccination process is concerned. Japan says, in fact, Japan has just passed a bill saying that they will issue vaccines and give free vaccines to all of its residents, and a bill has been passed.